The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from Hawaii, Ms. Hirono, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to introduce a resolution commemorating the remarkable life of service of Mother Marianne Cope of Molokai and her canonization as a saint of the Roman Catholic Church on October 21st, 2012. She joins Saint Damien of Molokai among the 12 American saints. I am joined in introducing this resolution by Congresswoman Ann Marie Buerkle, who represents Syracuse, New York, where Mother Marianne's Order of the Sisters of St. Francis is based, by Congressman Richard Hanna, who represents Utica, New York, where Mother Marianne grew up, and by Congresswoman Colleen Hanabusa, who represents Hawaii's 1st Congressional District. I am proud to represent Hawaii's 2nd Congressional District, which includes the island of Molokai. It may seem surprising that 1/6 of America's saints are connected to the tiny Kalaupapa Peninsula on the Hawaiian island of Molokai. The story of Kalaupapa is heartbreaking. We have all heard of how isolated native populations are especially susceptible to new diseases. Once Westerners and other peoples came to Hawaii, diseases like smallpox and measles caused high mortality. It was no different with leprosy. Native Hawaiians made up the majority of those afflicted with this disease. To stem the spread of leprosy, the Kingdom of Hawaii decided in 1866 to forcibly relocate persons found to have the disease to the Kalaupapa Peninsula. Those with the disease were outcasts in every sense of the word. Kalaupapa was chosen because it is surrounded by the ocean and some of the tallest sea cliffs in the world, effectively cutting off escape. Mothers, fathers, and children who contracted the disease were taken from their families and brought to Kalaupapa, where living conditions were terrible and medical care almost non-existent. Father Damien, who ultimately contracted and died from the disease, is recognized throughout the world for all he did to improve the conditions of the outcasts at Kalaupapa. Mother Marianne carried on and expanded on his work. This resolution honors Mother Marianne for her legacy of compassionate care and recognizes of what it truly means to dedicate one's life in service to others. One does not need to be Catholic to be humbled and inspired by the life of someone who devoted herself selflessly to those whom almost everyone else shunned and rejected. Mother Marianne, born Barbara Koob, immigrated to this country from Germany as a young girl. She and her family settled in Utica, New York. At the age of 24, she entered the religious life as a Catholic nun and commenced a life dedicated to children, education, and the sick. Mother Marianne later focused her efforts on health care and was influential in establishing St. Elizabeth's Hospital in Utica. She was also the founder and administrator of St. Joseph's Hospital in Syracuse, the city's first hospital. In 1883, Mother Marianne received a letter that would change her life. It was from Father Leonor Fosnell, a missionary in Hawaii who was desperately searching for volunteers to take charge of the hospitals that served people with Hansen's disease. More than 50 religious congregations had already declined, but Mother Marianne was different. She eagerly accepted the mission. She wrote back to Father Leonor, quote, "I am hungry for the work, and I wish with all my heart to be one of the chosen ones. I am not afraid of any disease," end quote. Mother Marianne left for Hawaii along with 6 sisters from Syracuse in 1883, where she began a 30-year mission caring for those diagnosed with Hansen's disease. Mother Marianne accepted a government plea to start a new home for women and girls with Hansen's disease at the Kalaupapa settlement. Mother Marianne arrived in Kalaupapa just months before Father Damien's death. She oversaw the expansion of health services and programs to provide education and tend to the spiritual needs of the patients. Mother Marianne lived until the age of 80, and August 9, 1918, she died in Kalaupapa. She was deeply mourned and is still revered. I have visited her gravesite, where I left ho'okupu, a traditional Hawaiian offering. I was deeply moved by the devotion of this woman from New York who left all that was familiar to live on an isolated peninsula 5,000 miles from home. Kalaupapa became her home and its people her family. Mother Marianne recognized the rights and inherent dignity of all people. She dedicated her life to caring for those who needed it the most. People of all faiths can admire her spirit of aloha, encompassing love, compassion, mercy, and grace, and malama, to care for others. I yield back.